Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
I mean, no one plans to get sick, and yet, here we are. My name is Matthew Zachary. I survived cancer, a stroke, and COVID-19, and somehow I'm still here. I also survived our stupid, broken healthcare system, and I want to help you survive it too. So let's go make healthcare suck less together. Because you know what? We're all out of patience. Hey, that's the name of the show. Alrighty, friends, welcome back to the show. If you like it, I hope you do. We're always looking for new reviews and ratings on Apple Podcasts, so that's a thing. If you can, that'd be great. If not, we're still friends and all good. On today's show, I am speaking with an incredible human being, Carly Flumer, two-time thyroid cancer survivor and director of medical engagement at MMG, which is a really important healthcare agency doing incredible work in patient recruitment. She's also a legitimate torchbearer for the adolescent and young adult cancer movement, something I'm very proud to have helped give birth to in the Stone Age of the mid-2000s. So she was diagnosed with stage 1 metastatic papillary thyroid cancer. You'll learn more about that during our conversation. In January of 2017 at the age of 27. Not that there's a good time to get cancer, but come on, right when you're just getting started. Yes, that is the AYA cancer story. She went through all sorts of crazy treatment, but managed to get her master's degree in health communication, and she's been blowing up the Twitterverse at Carly Flumer ever since. She now enters the podcasting fray in the hot seat here on Out of Patience to drop some knowledge about thyroid cancer and the occasional S-bomb. Ladies and gentlemen, Carly Flumer. Carly Flumer.
Hi.
I pulled the Target.
You did.
It's not just nice to see you. It's nice to see you for the first time in person, and it's nice to see you in person.
Oh my gosh.
Three things.
Yes. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, welcome to New York for the third time.
Thank you.
But now you get to come here.
I do.
In studio live here at Off Script Health.
Yes.
What do you think?
I love it.
Is it hyperbaric enough for you?
Yes. Yeah.
We're like longtime listeners, first time followers. Like we finally see each other in person. I don't know how it's taken this long for our paths to cross.
Yeah.
There's no like bromance for Twitter, but we've just been stalking each other and doing all the Twitter things forever.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, how we've never occupied the same space at the same time is like, I have no idea how that happened.
Uh-huh.
Because you were diagnosed how many years ago?
4.
Right. And I was still at Stupid Cancer. We were having all our conferences and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
But we're here.
We are.
And 4 years, you're still here.
Yes.
So thyroid cancer, I just want to lead with this because like the running joke is, oh, that's the good one.
Yeah. And
right?
I hate
How many times
it.
were you told, oh, you'll be fine. It's a good one.
Many times.
For real, right?
Yes.
What weight pipe were you carrying to hit that person over the head with?
At the time, I wasn't because I didn't have any symptoms. So I very much believed that this would be kind of how my journey was going to go, as quote unquote easy as it was. But then I had metastases and then radiation, and then I can go into the whole story.
The good cancer's so nice you got it twice.
Oh, yes.
Wait, so thyroid cancer is like a silent creep, right?
It is,
you have no idea what it is. How old were you and what were you doing? And like, how do you not know you have something that no one knows what you have?
Sure. I was 27 and I was in graduate school at Boston University. and I was working full time for a hospital. And I went in for an annual physical, and my physician felt a lump that ended up being a congenital cyst in my throat. But I went to have an ultrasound, and they found the cyst. And then when they do an ultrasound, they do your entire neck. And so they also found my tumor at that time. And so they said it is recommended to get surgery, or you can wait to see if it grows over time, because thyroid cancer is very slow growing and it doesn't progress, at least my type, which is papillary, the papillary variant.
What is that? Variant's a weird word these days, by the way.
Yes.
Help me understand papillary versus, is it non-papillary?
So papillary is the most common type, but then there are others such as medullary and anaplastic, which are more aggressive types.
Okay.
Yes. And so I went to see a surgeon. I was able to get the surgeon's name because I worked in the hospital system, and I asked the doctors who I worked with, who is the best surgeon that you know of that could take care of me for the situation, and they all told me the same person. And so I called him, and it was a 5-month wait.
Yeah, right, because that sounds fantastic.
So he is a general surgeon, but he's done thousands of thyroid cases. So I knew I wanted him to do my surgery, but in the meantime, I did get a second opinion, and he told me the exact same thing that I would be hearing at my 5-month appointment. The tumor was located in the right lobe of my thyroid. The thyroid is made up of 2 halves. So you have your left lobe and your right lobe, and you can live with 1/2 of your thyroid. And so my physician was fantastic, and he really focused on the patient and what they were looking for in terms of outcomes for surgery. And so I was really focused on quality of life given my young age. And so
Well, you weren't 6 or 80.
Exactly. So I opted to, instead of getting out the entire thyroid, I opted to get out the side with my tumor. And one of the disadvantages of that was the cancer could come back eventually on the other side, many years down the road. And then the disadvantage of getting out the entire thyroid is having to be on a pill for the rest of your life that can do all of the functions that your thyroid does, because you cannot live without it, which I did not know at the time.
I'm on that pill, by the way.
Are you really?
Yeah, my radiation destroyed my thyroid.
Oh my gosh.
It's still inside me, but it doesn't work.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Hail the makers of Synthroid.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. So I ended up getting my right side out in May, and then I was recovering at home, and 2 days into recovery, my surgeon called me and he said, we did pathology on your lymph nodes. So meaning they were looking at the lymph nodes to see if there was cancer in them, and over 80% of them had cancer. So he said, you have to come back and we're going to take out your other half.
So you thought you were kind of, quote, done-ish, and
yes.
then this happened? Yeah.
Yes.
At 27 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And that, it's not a guarantee that they can get all of the thyroid out of your body, because it's very close to many major organs, such as your larynx and your pharynx and your voice box.
Well, those don't matter. Come on. Yeah. Who needs those?
I know. So I had to undergo radiation. It actually kind of primed me for COVID, because I took a pill and my whole body became radioactive. But that meant that when I was at home, I had to be away from my family, and they could come in within so many feet of me. And as time went on, the number of feet that they could come in to the distance with me decreased. So, I was also in school at the same time. I was going through treatment and also going through school. And I was also working full time.
Did you have to wear those Fallout shelter stickers all over you?
No.
Have you seen those? It's a real thing. They're running jokes, but you can wear Fallout stickers when you're radioactive. Yeah.
No, I did.
It's leave me alone. Leave me alone, or I'll nuclear kill you.
Yeah, I did get a letter to carry into my car, because if I happen to get pulled over, if they measured radiation coming off of me, then I could show them a letter.
You'd be fun through TSA.
Oh, I bet I would.
Yeah.
So then I had the radiation, and then still going through school, still working full time. And then I thought I was done after that. So then I had blood work every 3 months that checks your TSH, your T3, your T4, which
those are the thyroid specific hormone
Yes.
blood test things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. They basically can tell you how your thyroid is doing because it connects with the pituitary gland in your brain and how much thyroid hormone you are getting from the synthroid. So that's how the dose is determined. It can take many years to find out the dose that you need based on your body type because they start out with a dose based on, your age and your weight. And then
It's all assumption. There's no math behind it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For any thyroid cancer people in the crowd, let's nerd out for a second. All right.
Sure.
My first dose
Yeah.
was 0.5.
Oh, wow.
Which was, at the time considered like, that's a lot.
Sure.
And then we realized it made me hyperthyroid, which is my thyroid wasn't working, but then they turned it into like this Tasmanian devil, Roadrunner version of it. And I lost all this weight. It was not okay.
Uh-huh.
So then slowed it down to 0.25, then now I'm on 0.125.
Grams?
Micrograms.
Oh, micrograms. Okay.
Yeah, grams. I'd be like bouncing like a rubber ball in the whole room if I was that much. Yeah, but it took me 6 years to regulate on a dose that worked for me.
Sure.
What did you start at?
So I believe I started at 112
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to 125 and then 137. Then I'm back to 125. Now I'm back to 112.
Okay. Yeah, because in the 90s, they didn't really have the same level of like longitudinal data, especially for young adults that had radiation-induced thyroid death.
Yes.
Not thyroid cancer-induced thyroid death.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the thyroglobulin, which is the tumor marker that measures if your cancer is coming back. And so I had always had a positive tumor marker even after my surgeries and my radiation. And I was told that for some patients, the thyroglobulin level does not go down and they end up being fine, or it takes a couple of years for it to go down. And mine just stayed the same consistently. So I wasn't too worried. I had an ultrasound every year. And so I got my ultrasound this year, February 2021, and was told that my cancer was refractory, meaning it did not respond to the radiation treatment. And so I was diagnosed with cancer again. And
congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I had my third surgery 6 months ago.
Are you like a Pez dispenser where your whole neck snaps back and pills come out now?
I feel like it sometimes.
Yeah. That's another thing. When I first met my batch of thyroid cancer friends through this organization called THICA.
Yes.
Props to Gary Bloom for running THICA. When I entered the cancer version, like, I don't know, 03, 04, I had nothing to do. I was just trying to figure out what to do with my life in my 20s. And I met people that live strong and like, where have you people been this whole time? And the thyroid cancer universe in young adults, we make fun of it because our job is to be stupid and humorous about it. They all were comparing like their neck scars.
Yes.
But the whole Pez dispenser conversation kept coming up. And at one point, someone brought Pez dispensers with "I have thyroid cancer, leave me alone" on it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
This is ridiculous stuff that only the Gen X young adult cancer universe could actually make happen because why be so serious with something so ridiculous?
Yes. Yeah.
So you are or not a Pez dispenser?
I feel like it.
And you're 6 months out of your third surgery?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You ever get the whole, but you look great?
Yes.
How's that make you feel?
Terrible.
You want to punch the same person again?
I understand where they're trying to come from, but I hate it when people say you don't look sick. Because there are so many invisible diseases, not only thyroid cancer, but other rare diseases that you can look at somebody and say the exact same thing, but you really don't know until you talk to somebody about it.
Do you ever have what I used to call geography guilt?
No.
Geography guilt is when someone else thinks your cancer wasn't bad enough because they had something else that they consider bad enough.
Yeah, I mean, I do that with myself and other patients, especially before this year when I found out it hadn't gone away. I would compare myself to other people who had it worse than I did. And Alexa Jett, who was another thyroid cancer patient, I met through Twitter, and she likes to talk about the pain Olympics, where you don't like to compare.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember there was so much get off my lawn cancer geography in the early 2000s between I have this and it's over here and you only had it over there and I had this much over here and you had that much over. And what Stupid Cancer really tried to do, and I think what the young adult cancer movement really tried to do, was kind of Switzerland everything.
Mhm.
Can we just all get along that it sucks across the board, and how much it sucks is irrelevant to we only to do this together?
Mhm.
And it was just so refreshing, at least to me, because I had brain, and one could argue, that's the worst one around.
Sure.
Because your fucking brain.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't even see it.
Yeah.
Right? What do you got? I'm gonna have a brainectomy. I'll be fine. Here, you're
Yeah.
cured, right?
Sure.
And it's such a waste of energy.
Yeah.
To be thinking that way on the offense or the defense at the same time. And the playing field is just leveled because we all have our version of shit to deal with.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, it's very hard to not be able to do that. But you're right. You know, we've all gone through our own shit. To
you can curse, it's okay.
To say it bluntly.
Fuck. You can say whatever you want
say
here.
it bluntly. But yeah, cancer is cancer at the end of the day. And we've all been through our own journeys, and each one of them has its ups and downs. And us trying to come together, I think, makes it a little bit easier.
All right, we'll be right back with Carly. All right, we're back.
Okay, hello.
You're still here.
I am here.
She's still here. Oh, come on. Really? All right, I want to get into the whole no one expects to get sick, and then it happens, and you can choose to cry in the shower or become an advocate. You know, were you on Twitter before you got sick?
Yes.
All right. And how did using Twitter, possibly for the betterment of mankind, which is the nice way to think about Twitter or its potential these days, how did that help you find support, find peers? Were there hashtags? Like, where did you first start using Twitter to make sense of this crap?
Sure. So I was debating on putting my diagnosis actually on Instagram and Facebook for family and friends to see, because I didn't want like a pity party or anybody to feel bad, because I was like, people have their own stuff to deal with. I don't need to add to it. But then I put it on there, and then I got really great support out of that. And so I was already on Twitter. And so
At Carly Flumer.
Yes, that's where you can find me. And I had learned about Twitter chats or tweet chats through one of my classes I did at Boston University for my master's degree. And we had to participate in one for an assignment. I can't remember which one I participated in. I think I found one that is what I do now as part of my advocacy role, called Patient Chat. And that's held every other Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's run by a group called Patient Empowerment Network. And I participated in it. And then I think I was contacted by the people who run Patient Chat. And I was talking to them about their website, and it was very restrictive in terms of how many cancer groups were recognized. And I had a call with them, and I was like, if you really want to reach more patients, you have to have more cancers on here than breast and lung and the main cancers that you hear about.
There's more than Mount Rushmore of cancer.
Exactly. And so they said, we would love for you to help us with that. And so they ended up coming up with a network manager program, and they asked me to be the pilot. And so when they
How'd that make you feel?
Amazing. I mean, I had tried to use my diagnosis for other things as well. I had been working with John Novak, who worked for Inspire at the time.
John. Shout out to Big J.
Yes, he's amazing. I was looking for jobs because I had left my job at the hospital when I was undergoing radiation. And then when I was coming back, I had connected with him on LinkedIn. And the story is going in many different directions.
It's a good direction, no matter what direction.
And then so he suggested that I pitch my story, my diagnosis, to the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I spoke to the chief editor there. So I talked to her about my story, and she said, "We have too many like yours." And I was like, okay, well, I didn't really know how to take that at first because I think every diagnosis...
There's too many of you?
Yeah. Every diagnosis is different, but maybe what she meant was we've had people share their cancer stories before and we're just looking for something different. So I didn't really let that stop me. I looked for other blogs that were sharing cancer stories and I kept receiving notifications from John about different opportunities. And that's how I got my work. So I've written for the Mayo Clinic, American Society for Cancer Research.
What do you write about? Like what's your big thing that matters most to you that you want people to learn and hear?
Well, I'm an AYA advocate, so that's adolescent and young adult in the oncology space. And my main focus is building physician-patient relationships and the topic of health literacy.
All right, so I'm going to blow your mind with a hypothetical, almost dogmatic concept. Do you feel that modern day empathy and compassion is missing in medicine on purpose or because doctors are too squeezed by the system to allow them to follow Hippocrates?
I think they're too squeezed by the system. Absolutely. Especially in oncology, I don't think we have enough time to really understand what the patient wants. And I've written about that a lot in my blog posts and in my written work where they're not really taken into consideration their values and their morals and what they're really looking for out of their cancer journey besides hoping to get a cure. And
which means nothing.
I know.
The word cure is just one syllable.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there are so many other aspects that go into cancer care that are really not talked about, I don't think, as much as they should be. It might be from a lack of empathy from physicians, but really there's also a lack of time and possibly a lack of resources, especially with disparities in healthcare that COVID brought to light in the oncology field.
So now you work in life sciences.
I do.
And how does that make you feel to have this, like you have knowledge you never asked to have? How is it applicable to what you do?
Sure. So I work for a health communications agency called MMG, and they're under Omnicom, which is a conglomerate. And they have a focus in healthcare called Omnicom Health Group. And MMG is one of the agencies. I was hired there back in February, 2 weeks before I was notified about my diagnosis and had to undergo treatment.
Not that there's a good time for that to happen.
I know. Well, you know what? I actually, when I interviewed with them, I made my diagnosis part of my interview.
Well, that's a young adult specific question, too. People diagnosed while they are kind of in their employee years. That's a thing that doesn't happen when you're a kid or an old person. And I'm glad you pointed that out because that is something really important to really just drive home the individual nature of who the person is besides what they have.
Yeah, well, you know, the reason I brought it up was because it's a healthcare company and they recruit for clinical trials. And so I was able to kind of use my experience as a cancer patient. And I've been in clinical trials before for quality of life. And so I was able to talk about that.
Right, because they're not allowed to ask you. You chose to disclose that.
Yes, I did.
Which was a risk at this point.
It is, yes.
But it worked.
It did work.
You hedged your bet and you paid off.
Yes. And so now I work as a director of medical engagement and I have a fabulous team. And I'm going to give a shout out to my project director, Jamie Goldfarb. And she is also a stage 4 melanoma cancer survivor.
Did she tell them she had cancer when she got the job?
Yes, because when she first worked there, she was diagnosed with her cancer diagnosis and she had to undergo treatment at NIH in a clinical trial.
Wow.
Yes.
It's like everyone's born of their condition. It's oddly fantastic for the kind of wrong and right reasons. So let's wrap up over something that will only take us 30 seconds to solve. What's the deal with clinical trials? I'm totally kidding. That's like 9 other episodes with 9 more episodes and then 6 more seasons of 9 more episodes. So your take on where we arrived at, because you entered the young adult cancer universe 10 years after it was started in like 06-ish, 07, 08. And we strove to make sure that even the words young adult cancer was a billing code, was a research thing, was a best practice standard, those words.
Sure.
And, this idea that it's not one trial for all like it used to be when there were like 4 drugs on the market when I was diagnosed. Trials are now so segmented into like hundreds of almost like you're microdosing genetics, because there's such an N of 1 in many, many cases. Is the approach to trial awareness these days now more about patient centricity? How do you make patients aware of what a trial is? No one ever knows what those words mean. Maybe they do now because of COVID, but is it age relevant? Is it disease relevant? Is it zip code relevant? Where have you seen that conversation?
Right now, I am recruiting. I'm helping to recruit for the COVID trials. But as far as other diseases go, I think it is really hard for patients to become aware of clinical trials because, well, I mean, it's seen as a last resort for patients, as a source of treatment.
Is that true?
I would think so. Depending on the diagnosis, my treatment options were surgery or no surgery.
Did you find out that there could have been a trial for you?
No.
Okay.
I think for thyroid cancer specifically, there aren't very many trials, particularly for the papillary type of cancer. They're more for the advanced anaplastic and medullary types, but there are tons of trials that are going on for breast and lung cancer. And it's really the other types of diseases that are really not talked about, I feel like, at least when I've done my research on other cancers in clinical trials, that I don't feel like that there's much going on. And I think it's because, number one, it's hard to find them. And number two, if you go to the clinicaltrials.gov website, a lot of that is not written in lay-friendly language. And so if you read it and you can't understand it, you're not going to want to join.
Well, if you read it and don't understand it, you're a normal human.
Well, exactly. Yes. I mean, you could bring it to your physician, but at the end of the day, healthcare is a business. And I think physicians feel like they are going to lose their patients if they hand them over to a clinical trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
And it's a rabbit hole that leads to a bigger rabbit hole, if I can just put it lightly and mildly.
Sure. Yeah.
So final thoughts, because, like I said, here you are now, a Twitter influencer. I see you all the time. Yes, I just called you a Twitter influencer.
Well, thank you.
You are very active.
Yeah.
And I love that you chime in. I love that people know who you are. How many?
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're well known in the Twitterverse. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
With, we don't intentionally self-brand sometimes, but everyone knows, the right people in the right crowds know you and trust you and listen to what you have to say.
That's great.
So you're already swimming with the people that are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
And people are only activists once the sky has fallen on them. How do you feel about talking to the people for whom the sky has not yet fallen, or it's fallen on them and they don't know what to do about it?
Join a support group. Number one, I was not told about support groups until I reached survivorship. I was not talked about.
That's not okay.
I know. I was mentioned to me when I was going through my first surgery, my second surgery, or my radiation. I did all of my advocacy work after I went into remission, or my so-called remission.
Right. Famous last words.
Yes, my so-called remission.
That's your TV show.
Oh my gosh,
My So-Called Remission.
It's my book.
That's your book. We just called you, write a book by So-Called Remission. Oh my God, that would sell like hotcakes.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Join a support group. There are plenty on Facebook. Join a Twitter chat. Share your story, because you don't know the power of it until somebody comes to you and says, you know what? I really related to that, and I thought I was the only one who felt that way, and I'm not, and I really want to thank you.
I helped create the Young Adult Cancer Movement in 2007.
Yeah.
And I say this with not a dad-like tone.
Sure.
But I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
For helping to carry the mantle of the attitude that we brought forth to this planet back then.
Thank you very much.
Carly Flumer, the Director of Medical Engagement at MMG, but you're so much more than that. You were dealt a lot of shit, and you shoveled it out of the way. I'm so thrilled you're a part of our community and doing all the right things. On Twitter, at Carly Flumer. Any last famous words?
Be proud of who you are, even through all the shit that you've gone through.
I got a shit on her. I'm done. She said shit. We're done. Okay. Good night, folks. See you next time.
Bye.
That's all for now. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, follow us on social, and tell all your friends to listen. Tell us what you'd like Matthew to cover in his next episode by leaving a message for us at 855-AUDIO-66, and we might just use it in a future show. Out of Patients is a product of Offscript Health. We are a healthcare engagement company built for patients and caregivers by patients and caregivers. Our executive producers are Matthew Zachary and Andrew McDowell. Our senior producer is Betsy Shepard. Our host is Matthew Zachary. It is recorded, mixed, and edited by Betsy Shepard. For advertising and media inquiries, email media@offscript.com. That's media@offscript.com. For more information, visit offscript.com.
Find yourself looking for a new job or change in career? Monster.com is here to help. We are not only here to bring you job postings, but also AI interview prep and salary tools, expert career advice, and top-notch resume services. We've got everything you need to land your perfect job fit. Discover the magic of finding the ideal job with Monster.com. Your future starts now. Visit Monster.com today. Your next job opportunity is just a click away.